guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber from Kyuujin, and today we're back with you for The Sopranos, Season 2, Episode 4.
This one is called Commendatori.
Ooh.
Last episode, Richie April got out of prison, and we got to meet him and see how volatile he is. For him, it's been like 10 years. He wants things to go back to the way they used to be.
The old ways.
And he's been pissed about his associates not visiting him in prison. So he got out of there and he wanted his old status, his old power, and he wanted people to give him money. But things have changed. Tony is in charge now and he wants things to be done differently and more silently because the feds are still on their back. And Richie was not happy with the whole patience thing. He wanted things to be moving, and he's been frustrated. He's trying to get back with Janice.
Junior.
Janice.
Both. Janice,
He's trying to get back with her because they used to be a couple. I can't see that being a good thing in the future. He ran over a guy, and Tony got pissed about that because he told Richie not to do anything about it. So he sent him a message. I'm in charge now. You pay me the respect that you used to pay your brother, right? So I don't know how that's gonna go, especially since Richie went to Uncle Junior and he told him, "You're the guy. You tell me how it's done. I'll do it." So he's, he respects Uncle Junior and he follows him more than he would Tony, I think.
It's gonna get messy, guys.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think he's gonna be a problem. And other than that, last episode we found Meadow having a party in Olivia's house, and Tony and Carmela were trying to find a way to punish her correctly.
How to do parenting 101.
Yeah, how do you know what to do in that situation? And it looked like Meadow didn't give a shit, but then in the end we saw her cleaning the house, so at least there's that. But that's pretty much what happened last episode. Let's jump in this one and see what they have in store for us. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these episodes, and check out our Patreon for the full-length reactions.
Alright, let's go.
Let's do Tobey Maguire.
This is not so bad as this one.
And the little kid who had the dance perfect when at his school dance or something.
Did he have some dirt in his eyes?
He was gonna put dirt in someone else's eye. You want forgiveness? Get religion. Most quotable Spider-Man movie ever.
I can't watch this again. These are the alternate takes, Don. What, are you gonna call Coppola with ideas on how to fix it? Oh! Come on. You know what scene I love most? It was you, Fredo.
Tom, you gonna go see your uncle first if you decide to go over there?
Yeah. Tom, what's your favorite scene? I can't have this conversation again.
I am interested.
What's your favorite scene of The Godfather?
I don't know. I think when he kills everyone at the end of the second one.
When Vito goes back to Sicily. Great old house.
Oh, it's fucking beautiful.
Maybe because I'm going over there, you know?
I was in the Army Signal Corps. What this thing needs is what we call a Rogaine adjustment.
That's what it needs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, sometimes it worked.
So what do you want to talk about?
Going over the other side. See that friend of ours over there?
My car operation.
Lose the miserable puss. It's mine now. Our friend, what's he like to deal with?
He's a serious man, Vittorio.
Serious how?
You know what I mean.
Isn't he like a distant cousin of ours?
Yeah, it's so far removed by now. Tonto's a closer cousin to you. We deal with him through a guy named Furio Giunta. He speaks English. Going to Italy, huh?
The motherland.
Nice.
Can't go more OG. Or authentic.
And we don't get to go.
We got school.
What about Mom?
It's a business trip.
She knows it's a business trip. Honey, want me to help with the roast?
Right there on the counter.
Not going well in Decapole once again?
It's not worth the jet lag.
Did I say anything?
Feeling like he's going on vacation without her.
I know last year, Tom and Bob, the trip to the Bahamas, I said I didn't have time.
You didn't.
It was football season. It's our busiest month.
I'd be pissed too. It's Italy. I've been once, never forgotten.
I've been once too, never forgotten.
Tony, where's he at with Junior these days?
Ain't spoken months.
Oh, pussy!
That's a distant cousin.
This is Joey from Dover, Delaware.
No shit. You know, I'm trying to think. Did I ever meet any connected guys from Delaware?
The fucking box looks heavy.
The answer
Things are getting
is...
intense.
No.
All right, look, I gotta go, fellas.
Dangerously close, the two worlds.
That's the thing that you remember when you did the editing, right?
I thought he was working with another crew, but he's a Fed. He's an informant.
That went
So
fine.
they were right.
Just know this.
Shit.
You're doing a good job.
When you play classical music, you know that someone's gonna get murdered.
No, no.
I'm not happy Sal's back. Angie. Thought killing myself.
Whoa.
When he did come home that day, I was upstairs. I heard the door and then his voice, I'm home. Fucking wanted to vomit.
Well, you just said things were bad between them.
They found a lump under my arm. They biopsied it. I get the results in a couple of days. I told Sal. He said, Jesus Christ. Kind of alarmed, you know, a little. Then he went back to do whatever the fuck he was doing. Hasn't asked me how I am. Touch my face or something when he comes in.
Angie, what are you gonna do?
Benign. Malignant. I'm getting a divorce.
Actually, yeah, you go, girl. And then I'm imagining Carmela hearing this, and her relationship might be better than this, but we both know that
She's not
it's
happy
not
with that
that, yeah.
marriage.
It's not great either.
Oh, hey, how are you? Piacere.
Piacere.
This is Paulie. This is Christopher.
Ciao. E chi stettanno?
Italian Christopher.
My boss Nino say you can fresh up. Then we will pick you up at 8. And you will meet us for fare la business.
Whoa. Nino? And I'm sure he's a nice guy and everything, but Vittorio will be there, right?
Maybe no.
Commendator.
It's
already
another
checked.
league.
Commendatori. I like that. That's respect.
To me, it's like sending a message like he might not be worth his presence.
It is that kind of message.
What time Christopher say he get here? He's got that titanium club I want to give to Don V.
Any time now. He was just going down to Corso to buy a gift for Adriana.
Don't be late.
Abbiamo telefonato.
Nino says we always ask your uncle for more cars. He was no supply.
That's why I'm here.
Okay, hence the stealing cars more and more, so he has a great collection to show them.
No offense. We were hoping the Vittorio would be here. Anything you want to talk to Vittorio about that I don't know?
Think it's about power, maybe?
Nino is disappointed in your attitude of him.
I'm sure that I will learn much doing business with a man like you. It's an honor.
Tutti i modi, io non so lavorare con noi.
Ma perché mi rompi le palle? Digli di venire al fottuto dunque.
Nino is happy to be at your disposal.
Okay, we get the
Oh my
vibe.
god, being the middle one.
He's keeping things like civil, but
Yeah.
How much charge on car?
In Eastern Europe, you can sell this car for 110, 120,000. My price to you, 90 grand.
90.000.
It's manufactured in America.
Sono due figli in droga.
What do you fucking say?
the language barrier would make it really easy to feel things when you're not really sure what they're saying. Like you could interpret it certain ways.
Yeah.
Permettimi di presentarti i nostri amici dall'America. Anthony Soprano.
It's an honor.
Respect. That one, yeah.
Think something's wrong with the wheelchair.
He say Wilshire Boulevard. My name is Annalisa. I am his daughter.
Georgia Washington Bridge.
Right.
Maybe that's why they weren't sure if he was gonna show up, because he's getting old, man, and like he's still like he has their respect, but he can no longer do business like before.
Chris.
Don't fucking play around with drugs here. Oh, he did already. Dude. Honestly, I can't say I'm surprised, but it could be dangerous.
I come 3,000 fucking miles. You never said nothing about this guy, Nino. All of a sudden, he's my blind date.
Nino was denied from the police until 2 days ago. I don't even think Marozuka know he's here.
Who the fuck is Marozuka?
Marozuka ruined his family.
No, I should be talking to Marozuka.
Marozuka is serving the life sentence.
They're having their own little show over there.
Can I just get some macaroni and gravy?
Dude, it's not America.
Spărișime că e vedești că îmi dă în clasă să pizza.
Shit. But yeah, like you said, the language barrier, it's difficult because you won't be in control very much about what's going on.
And how culture changed.
Yep.
How, you know, they keep saying they're Italians in America, but they've changed quite a bit.
Can I present Italian food from motherland? don't have a relation with the
Married woman.
daughter.
But then we were saying like with what's going on back home, how they have their life and they feel like they're completely like disconnected from their husbands and
Stay a while. I will as well personally give you a tour of the surroundings area.
Avellino.
Where your family's from? I send you the car at 9?
Fine. Just a kid.
but he freaked them out. For them that
Not the same thing back
Kid only
home.
got firecrackers on him.
things are different here and the police is getting out of there. Things are a lot more intense in Italy. I guess in Italy the mafia runs a lot deeper. It's older
But
too.
you will always get bigger leagues that is done more at a higher scale, you know?
They brought it back from there. They tried to implant it in America and it worked to a certain degree, but it's not the same. It's older in Italy. The respect is different. Fear's different.
How's Italy?
Gotta be honest with you, pretty friggin' good. I'll have to come back here.
Yeah, right. So how's the food?
Lots of fish.
Well, if the trip is as bland as this phone call.
There's nothing going on. Seriously.
Of course he won't mention the beautiful woman he just met. Or stuff like that. What he's thinking about. Love the
Yes.
costumes, by the way.
I'll shove that Elvis shit right up their ass.
Sal,
Stop.
you're having a nightmare.
Yeah, of course he's stressed that his pals on one side will find out he's pals with the other guys. They killed the last guy they thought was an informant. Which, by the way, now that we know for sure he is, does that mean that Jimmy wasn't? They kind of did say he took the fall, so...
Do you remember Angie Bompancero?
Angie Belfiore married Sal Bompancero.
Right. She's thinking of divorcing him.
How fucking are you? I don't know them, but you know, to be married to a man like that.
I mean, like what?
Oh, the toot and the fucking medieval outlook.
He is such an adoring father, though.
You can be a good father, but be a shitty husband.
She might be comparing to her
He's
relationship.
very
Yeah.
macho.
Macho? Try swaggering mama's boy. Fucking hypocrite.
Is that how you see your brother?
Are you talking about Angie?
Nah.
I mean, these OC pricks, especially with their gumas and their prostitutes, emotional cripples. They expect their wives to live like the fucking nuns up at Mount Carmel College.
That is
It's not
true.
that simple.
Madonna whore is a full equation, I believe.
You are talking about me.
But you were kind of implying. You're both implying.
Your innuendo was pretty obvious.
The other woman of your intelligence is content to ask so little from life and from herself. I don't know. I'm
Marriage is a holy sacrament.
On that, she has a point, Janice.
And you, trying to fan the flames with Richie Aprile, of all people?
Richie, because of his life experience in prison, he has a sensitivity to the plight of women.
Oh my
How?
God.
I mean, who knows, maybe?
I mean, he's doing yoga.
Because he needed to be flexible in prison? But there, a lot of good points were raised, girl. She's staying with Tony because of the idea of family, because like he's a loving father and all of that, but he's a shitty husband if you think about it. Or at least he's trying sometimes, but...
Commendatore. Buongiorno.
Don't give a shit
Who's this
about you,
asshole?
man.
He's trying to fit in. He was
Yeah.
talking about how, like, you know, people are trying to imitate the culture back in the States and, you know, he wants to connect with his past and everything, but now
Yeah.
that he's here, he just doesn't fit.
I know, because you're not from Italy, you're from the US, not the same thing.
Neighbors, guys.
That way I get guys with no ties to anybody over there. They've been loyal to me.
What do I get?
Well, you get an obvious advantage to having your guys in that end.
How much you pay me for this man?
Pay you. Your profitability is gonna go way up.
What are you thinking?
Julio to start.
Julio, true, but you should have said.
Take it easy.
I'm going to give you one of my best men, and all I get is a bunch of numbers in the air. Ma vera viva.
She knows what's up.
He's one of my best men. Forget about it. It's not going to happen.
I'm asking you nice.
Or what?
Yeah, you can't play with her.
I don't even think you
Well,
understand.
she knows the business, man.
My husband? Fuck you. He's never coming back. So you have to fucking deal with me.
Up your ass.
You're not used to being told no by a woman like that.
Yeah.
I love the
She-
whole, like,
she's in charge right now.
I love the whole, I want to talk to your husband. She's like, fuck that. She commands respect. And she knows the business. That's the one thing he doesn't have with Carmela.
I just came from the doctor's office.
So
It's benign.
Biopsy came back negative.
phew.
I'll be back later.
You don't even care?
No.
Okay, girl, call your lawyer and ask for a divorce right now.
Like on his side, I'm guessing it's because he has too much on his plate. He's got
Yeah, but-
too much stress and he's thinking about many things at the same time.
What
But that's not
about
an
her?
excuse. I know. Oh. Makes sense now.
Listen, yeah. What the fuck you doing here?
He's gonna take care of him. Yeah.
For no fucking reason. The fact that he was such a huge Elvis fan, somehow that makes me more sad. He didn't do shit.
What if he did connected the fact that he might be someone informant?
Well, he's the one. Like, fuck that. He's the one that's playing the double sides.
Yeah, but that's his life on the line.
Not enough. I can like sympathize with all the stress he's feeling, but not with that. Definitely not with that. I'm with the wife all 100%.
It was horrible what he did.
Might as well have fucking cancer. God gave me more years, Carmela. I won't waste it like I've wasted 24 fucking years with this man.
You know what the church says about divorce.
Let the Pope live with him.
She's this close to being that woman. She's constantly struggling with those ideas too.
What
It's
about
just
the kids? Is this really the example you want to set when your daughter is struggling very hard to keep her new marriage in one piece?
that's not an
She
excuse.
Kept her married 24 years. Get her.
I'm just saying that at the very least you got to ask yourself these questions.
All her reasons she's giving her friend are reasons she keeps thinking about to stop herself from divorcing.
Yeah.
But then it's the same on the other side too. Like all the reasons her friend are giving and all the explanations she has about why she wants to divorce. Carmela's hearing that and it's getting harder. I
Yeah,
think.
but in her case, Carmela, our children are not all grown up yet.
You are your own worst enemy.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Tell you right now, you remind me of somebody from back home.
Not your wife, your girlfriend?
Oh, I got one. But no, not her.
But she's someone you want to fuck.
Yeah. He's got a lot of those.
Yeah.
Maybe your psychic power has been overrated a little bit.
You don't want to fuck her?
Oh, she got you on that.
He thought about it.
And she knows probably what you're thinking about her.
You don't want to fuck me?
Not that he's subtle about it.
I don't shit where I eat. It's bad business. We're in business.
Not at those price.
It took her a second and she went back to business.
And I'll walk down the price of the cars to 85.
Okay.
And get more guys on my timetable.
75,000.
Tough bargain.
Okay.
I would have settled for 50. He is building his own little thing though. New guys that are not influenced whatsoever about the old crew.
Yeah.
By the old crew.
Yeah, but are they gonna go with the flow from America? Or they're gonna be with the flow from
They'll adapt.
Italy?
Where the fuck is Christopher?
Oh well.
He's on a duty free buying a gift for Ray. 4 days. He's a block away from the greatest shopping district in the world. Why the fuck did he think of it then?
Abroad, Tom. Here he comes. Hey, come on!
He completely wasted his trip. This different, right? Doesn't look the same, but that's home.
Yeah.
She's been listening to Time to Say Goodbye all throughout the episode. How is she feeling when he's back?
Same thing that her friend thought about when she heard Sal said, I'm home. Time to say goodbye. Maybe time to say goodbye.
I'll say though, I really love how they did the end of this episode, considering
The parallel between her and
yeah.
her friend.
So we got a few things to talk about. Who do we talk about first?
Let's talk about marriage first.
So Carmela and the whole like pussy situation with his wife.
First of all, I will never discredit someone's belief about how you should do your marriage, because some people believe that for better and worse you should stay together because marriage is a sacred engagement with your
with your spouse.
With your spouse.
We're not
Thank you very much.
we're not religious, so for us the whole like marrying before God and how that is sacred for the church and all of that, like that doesn't really bother us, but kind of like what you said, I'm never gonna look at someone differently if that's their belief, if that's how they see the marriage. But objectively, I can look at a situation like Carmela's or, Pussy and his wife and be like, well, he's not treating you right. He's cheating on you constantly. And it is true, like what Janice was... I keep wanting to say Janice. Janice was saying about how they act a certain way. And it's kind of like when they turn around, they expect their wives to stay at home and not have a life outside of their marriage. And like they don't get that same freedom. But the men go out there and they do whatever the hell they want. And I mean, to be fair, I can kind of explain with Tony, I can kind of explain it like it's a double life, right? There's the Tony that's living the family life, like the father, the husband, when he's at home. He does sometimes work for his marriage with Carmela. He's made promises in the past. He has felt bad about a few things, right? When he's at home, he's trying. But as soon as he steps out, it's like he's this...
a different personality, a different type of life that he's living.
The mobster, the boss, like that guy gets the money, gets the adventure, gets the stress, and he lets loose. And he can't share any of that with Carmela. So it's kind of like he puts on that mask or he takes off that mask. Like, who's to say he's not wearing the mask when he's with his family? But still, when he's out there, he's completely different. And unfortunately, that to me was born of the lack of communication between him and Carmela. He cannot be himself with Carmela because he feels like he can't share that life with her. Same with her, like she feels completely disconnected because he doesn't talk about that. So he had a better connection with Jennifer because at least with Jennifer, there was this confidentiality thing. He could talk about everything and her job was to say it like it was, tell the truth. So she angered him sometimes, but she went deep in his feelings and that's something he never got. So that's why he's creating like relationships. He gets the stress to go away when he's with prostitutes.
Yeah.
He gets this, like, when he meets women like this, who, what's her name again? I forgot. It's written right there. Is it Ana Maria?
Annalisa.
Annalisa. Okay, Annalisa. So when he meets a girl like Annalisa who knows all about the business, he connects on that level with her. And
she's a strong woman. She's one of the bosses right now, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole like roots thing, which we can talk about later, but there's a connection there and there's a certain exotic fantasy about that and there's an obsession almost, like a certain level of respect. So with he's got different relationships with the different women in his life, but with his wife, he should be able to share all of that. But since he's living so many different lives, there's no way he can have a full connection with at least one woman, right? Kind of like, with Carmela, it's the family life. With the prostitutes, it's the stress that gets away.
Life,
it's the escape. Yeah, with people like Annalisa, it's like that other side of his life, the business side, the mobster lifestyle. So they live this other life, but then again, when they go back home, they do expect, like, no one likes to be cheated on, right? It's a double standard, and it fucking sucks. Like, I'll never understand how some people can be so close-minded when they allow themselves to do shit like that, but then they turn around and they're like, I can do this, but you can't. Like, I know there's this mentality. Sometimes you hear men say stuff about how, like, oh, it's okay for men to sleep around, but if a woman does it, it's disgusting somehow.
Yeah. I'm the one who has needs, so it's not cheating because I do it.
Oh, but
when my girlfriend or my wife does it, it's completely different.
It's because some guys their excuse will be that men can disconnect, and for them it's just physical, it's a need, but women, whenever they sleep with someone, it's emotional.
It's emotional. Yeah. So that's cheating.
So if a woman does it, it means something automatically, and that's not true. So it is a double standard. So as the wife, you're at home, the husband is never there. The husband has like this whole other life happening and he's not talking about it, so you feel constantly left out. Even if he's not hiding anything, you will feel like he's hiding something, and that's not a nice feeling to feel all the time, right?
No.
So there's that, and Carmela has constantly been fighting that idea of leaving Tony because of two big ideas, right? The church stuff, so the religion stuff, divorce is not accepted much in the Christian church, right? It's frowned upon.
frowned upon,
it's-
sorry.
People don't like that much. So you mean even if the relationship is making you suffer, even if it's hard, you have to keep working hard. You have to keep it going. So that's one of the points that stop her from leaving. And the other one is her children, the family's life, right? Tony is a good father. He cares about his kids. If you divorce him, it's going to break the family. It's going to set a bad example for the kids. Like all the excuses she gave her friend, that's stuff that she keeps telling herself so she doesn't leave Tony. But everything that, by the way, I forgot her name too, so I'll keep saying her friend. Everything her friend was responding to that, how it doesn't, the church can tell you how to live your marriage, but they're not the one, the Pope is not the one married to the guy, right? They're not the ones going through that shit.
I mean, the only thing that I would say regarding that aspect is you should try to make it work as much as possible, but in the end, it is only my opinion, though I'm not asking you to believe that, but if at the end of it, if after anything that you try to make it work, it still doesn't work, you should try to focus on your happiness, because if you're not happy and your husband is not happy, the family won't be happy and it's just gonna cause problems.
There's that. It is a double-edged sword because Carmela is right in one point. Yes, when you divorce, when you leave your husband and you separate the family, it's obviously gonna create issues, especially if the kids are still young. Her friend, her kids are all living their lives at this point.
They're all grown up. So.
Most of them are all grown up. And yes, like she said, they're having struggles and stuff. And if you add that to their plate, it's going to be worse. Every divorce, every separation brings its share of issues. But at the end of the day, if you do it right, a separation might be better than staying in a family that's constantly fighting. We come from a household that, the two parents separated when we were quite young. And I have a cousin who was talking about having a kid to our grandma, and I think our grandma said something about how you need to think about it. Do you want to spend the rest of your days with the person you're in a relationship with? Because if you add a kid to this and you're not sure,
you need to think about the kid first. Because if you go your separate ways,
but our
it's
cousin
gonna be affected by it.
Our cousin was saying that we lived it quite well, right? And our grandma was basically thinking, no, have you talked to your cousins?
Did we?
It was not a good time for us. And it is true. When we lived it, it was really harsh, but that's because our parents kind of weaponized the separation and they
had
weaponized
a really
us.
bad separation.
Yeah. But now, thinking back on how it was before the separation and past the transition phase where it was the worst, the after the separation, I'd rather have the after, because when we were kids, it was constant fights, it was screaming matches, it was a very tense family situation, and actually all of that bullshit from before didn't help how it turned out in the end. That shit, our parents kept that as resentment inside of them, and every time now there's an issue, between them or between us and them, they keep using that as little weapons, little guitar, arrows to shoot at each other. So the longer it exists as a situation, the longer the problem exists, the harder it's going to be to break it, and then the harder it's going to be to heal from it. So I guess I kind of understand, Carmela doesn't want to even start the process of breaking up because it'll bring a lot of issues for their kids, for themselves, and I see that. But you are miserable. So if you think about the before and the potential after, is it better to continue in that state where you're not happy for the sake of your kids and your husband, but you lived a hell of a life that's really not good, you suffer constantly and you're not happy? Or is it better to have it hurt right now for sure, but then later on show a good example to your kids that yes, it is okay when things are going to shit and you're not happy to step away from the relationship?
Worst example, her friend told her and check his widow. I forgot Carmela's friend's name, sorry. But she told them that when Sal came back, she even thought of committing suicide because she was that unhappy in her situation. When you're not happy, when everything is harsh and you don't have that connection when you're with your spouse that you're supposed to have, and you're just miserable upon being miserable every single day, what do you do?
To be fair, like
you should sometimes take the time to think about yourself. Right?
Last episode we talked about how this show is about transitions and how like they're basically in between, right? They're going into the 2000s. The mentality is changing, and it is the same with relationships, right? Like before marriages, it was for good or for worse, right? You work it out, and even if things go to shit, you stay in that relationship because that's what you were taught, right? That's how things were supposed to be. And now our generation, and nowadays, like people divorce and separate all the time. It's more accepted.
I would just say that some couples, unfortunately, do not take relationship as seriously as maybe they should.
I'd say there's an extreme on both sides.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people who they get in a relationship so quickly and they break it off without even trying to make it work.
Yeah.
I respect a couple, an older couple like our grandparents, for example, who can still show signs of affection, and yes, they've had their fights. Yes, sometimes it wasn't pink and roses, but they try to make it work. They worked on it together. They when they say, not my grandparents, but another older couple said, like, we come from a generation where when things break, you don't just throw it away. You try to repair it.
Mm-hmm.
That mentality, I like it, but it needs to come from both sides. There's an extreme. Yes, that's the middle to me, right? When something goes bad, you accept that, yes, we have our differences, but we try to work on it and make it better. But it needs to go both ways, and you have to try and not make those mistakes again.
I mean,
the extreme is when you keep saying to your spouse, you're doing something that hurts me, or he's aware, you don't even have to say it, he's aware that he's doing something that hurts, her, that hurts you, and he's still doing the behavior because the problem is not being changed, the problem's not being addressed. So that is an extreme. Nothing is ever going to change because Tony keeps living that double life, and he keeps having those thoughts of escape. That other personality, that other guy in him wants out, and he can't connect with Carmela, so he goes out and he connects with other women. And Carmela keeps trying to convince herself that she's not happy, but she's not doing it for herself. It's your relationship, girl.
At least he's putting a roof over our heads. At least he's a good father. At least he's there.
At least
he doesn't beat me. He's not being abusive towards me. That's supposed to be the minimum. Minimum.
It is. It does suck. So at the very least, I'd be thinking, if you want to stay in a relationship with Tony, just make it straight with him. If you're gonna live that life, I'm gonna live it too, right? Don't keep yourself pure for him. Don't keep yourself locked up for him if he's not gonna do it for you. At this point, I'm like, she deserves a life and she's not getting it. The whole ending of this episode where he comes back and he's saying, I'm home, and she gets that same feeling.
Look depressed as fuck.
Yeah. I really love how they did this cinematography, like on my French today. Yeah, basically how they showed it to us was really great. And the song coming back, Time to Say Goodbye, the idea is right there, and she's fighting like crazy to keep it away, but it's there. And I mean, Sal was not.
If she does leave, it's gonna be a huge wake up to Tony, though.
I don't know if she will leave, but something needs to change, because I cannot bear seeing her, like that all the time. And like, she will turn into her friend if it continues, because like her friend went through like 24 years of this, and it's at a point where like Pussy is so focused on his own issues, his stress, his problems. He's not paying attention to her. When something life-threatening happens, he's not even, he doesn't even bother. And when he's dealt with his own thing, he comes back with like a couple roses, like it's gonna change anything. Like, And I understand the stress. I completely understand how crazy, like, fucked up this is. And because like I said, at first I thought he was talking to a guy who worked with another crew.
Guy of the crew, yeah.
Not on the same crew, but I thought he was dealing with another
one of Junior's guy, basically,
or someone like that. But still, for sure, I understood he was betraying Tony. I didn't think it was that bad. But then when I edited the episode, I picked up on it. He was talking to the FBI. He's an informant, and he has been for years. So no wonder he's been stressed, and he's had back problems. But he's also said he had issues with his wife like for a while, and that's just a lot of stress adding on to what he already has. And so, yeah, I understand why he's distracted, but that's not a good excuse for her.
He has a lot of problem with his wife, but is he trying to work on his problem with his wife, or is just brushing them off?
Like I said, from his point of view, it makes sense with all the stress. He is afraid he's going to get whacked if they figure out that he's working with the feds. He met a guy from the crew who, I mean, there was no saying that he figured out anything, but he didn't take any chances.
He was asking some question, but nothing.
Nothing
could have
weird.
predicted that he picked it up and he connected those information together to form the truth, basically.
But he's scared, man. He's scared, and I mean, rightfully so, because the last guy they suspected of being an informant, they killed him.
They whacked him.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm thinking they got the wrong guy, but it's gonna come back for sure. Because Tony also, we know, still has his issues with pussy, right? He's at the beginning of the season when he had his anger issues and stuff. He looked at him and it kind of felt like he had not forgiven him, and there was still some stuff there. And now that we know he's an actual informant, it's going to turn into something. So yes, he's rightfully stressed and focusing on that, but it's not fair to her. And they know nothing about what's going on in that other lives of theirs, so it's not like they can understand.
Yeah.
In any case,
now the other side of that episode, guys.
We got Tony in Italy, or the whole culture thing.
Tony in Italy first, then.
I mean, it kind of fits with the culture thing if you think about it. Like, these guys keep talking about how, like, they're Italians, right? Like, they come from the motherland and they brought all of that here, and they are not respected by Americans, and they're different, right? They think that they carry this legacy, they carry the culture, right? They kind of like, they keep eating authentic Italian dishes at home and stuff, but when they go to actual Italy, everything is different.
Yeah.
The bathroom is different, the food is different. He was surprised that there was so much fish. They don't eat fish at home much. It's always pasta.
I mean, being of a country descent, like being
Italian
descent, being French descent, for example,
well, for us,
is different than coming from that country generally and moving to another one.
There is this thing. A lot of cultures are going through this, and we're talking about this today still. But the one I saw most recently, I can briefly just mention it, but then we'll talk about our experience. African Americans.
Yeah,
I've seen actual Africans.
You're opening a huge door.
Well,
that one, though.
I can't really speak on that because I'm not African American, but
True.
I am French Canadian. So we'll talk about that later. But it's something that's been talked about recently. I've seen actual Africans tell African Americans, "Why do you claim to be African when you've never even set foot in Africa?"
True.
It is kind of the same, and how we can connect with that is we're French Canadians. We did travel to France once, so we can't say we've never been there.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. That's true.
I didn't.
I've been to
I
France.
never went to France.
But that's the thing. We couldn't be any more different. There is some things, for sure. Like, sometimes I'll be, like, talking to American watchers or just people that are not French or people that are not Canadian about what we do here as French Canadians, what we eat, for example. And I'll realize when I say, like, oh, my dad, my family eats frog legs.
Yeah.
Or escargot.
Snails.
During
snails.
Snails, like in, but you can say escargot in French too. It's French cuisine.
Escargot.
When we say stuff like that our family does that at parties.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm realizing for the first time that it's not common. It's actually, and if you think about it, where does it come from? It comes from France. It's something that we kept in the culture, and we still do that today.
Maybe
but
it's French changed, though, we don't know that.
But still, we look at French Canadians here, compare them to what French people are in France, the language has changed, the food has changed, we have adapted.
The culture has changed. Yeah.
So it is, I can't imagine it's the same for Italian Americans. They have kept stuff from the motherland.
Mm-hmm.
They brought it here. They try to adapt it to how things are in America. They do feel that I don't feel like I'm proud to be like from France, like that my ancestors are from there. Like I don't have this.
I'm proud to speak French, to come from the French part of Canada.
But that's because
we
as French Canadians have this thing where, you know, we're the only province here that still speaks French. We kind of have this this pride that we've survived through time in our little spot. So we do have that. But the big difference is, you know, the last person in our family that lived in France was like generations ago,
way back.
But when it comes to them, it was like their grandfathers and stuff. So they heard stories, and they are trying to keep that alive as much as possible. They are mobsters here, so they already have this thing where, you know, they want to fight back against society, against the government, and all of that. So they've been using that. Like, we're different. We're from another place. We bring another culture, but they don't realize how much they've changed until they go there and actually see how it is now. Just a mob, man. The respect, you know, goes deep back in Italy. The history goes a lot, you know, farther back than it does here in America. For them, there's a sense of hierarchy. There's this whole like. You know, we have our boss and you know, there's a kiss on the cheek and all of that, and we respect the men, and they're talking about OGs and how things were done back in the day. In Italy, it's not as new. So I guess like they have a lot more influence, they have a lot more, you know, weight behind them. The police is afraid of them because they know like it's their influence spreads so far.
Yeah, they have way much power.
Yeah. They're not gonna do shit. Whereas in America, it's kind of like they brought this here, and America's fighting back, and they're not as, you know, numerous here in America. So their influence is not as spread, and they haven't been here too long compared to Italy. So things are different. So when they go there, they are shocked to see that the police is right there and there. They won't give a shit. They will beat up anyone who disrespects them or anyone who freaks them out. If you get close to the boss, if you
look to be a threat to the boss, you're gonna get disposed of.
If you look at him wrong, if you even insinuate something, they'll beat you up because it's about like keeping the name, it's about keeping the respect. It goes deep, but it's very different. The way they do things is different. How they treat women, how they respect them differently. They are two different, you know, cultures at this point. Italian American and Italian. Yes, there's little similarities, but you are not from the same country. Being there and saying to a local, we're practically the same. It's kind of like if I went to France and I was like,
we're practically the same.
It would make sense.
We're gonna get laughed at. I mean, we are.
They probably wouldn't understand my accent.
No, they wouldn't.
So it is a bit disrespectful. Like I've seen people, like I mentioned Ireland in the episode because I've seen a video of that. Like Irish people being like, you're an American, you come here and you say you're Irish, but you've never set foot here, and like you know nothing about the culture, but you claim to be Irish because like you had an ancestor that was from there. Like it's kind of like America. It's not true, but it kind of feels like in America we have such a new culture. We kind of feel like we're boring or we're bland, and we're trying to go for exotic stuff, like
where we came from. Oh, I'm from that and that and that and that place.
Yeah, like I say we because we are from the continent of America too. So I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm different, but maybe it's because we're such a new place. Like maybe it's and we're pretty young compared to Europe.
History is really old back there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one thing I really loved when I was in Italy.
History?
Yeah. You walk around in Italy and you're like, the fucking stones have history at this point. The runes have so much history. You walk around and you feel like there's a weight there. Like it's so different. And when you walk around here, yes, there are places that have that effect, but it's very like few in between. And even then, it's still practically new compared to what you can find over there. So since we have such
we do have whole places like the old Quebec, Montreal. The old Montreal with the those are like 300, 400 years old, but in Europe, like Italy, France, and Greece,
we're talking thousands,
like 1,000 years old. So it's the weight is different. Yeah,
the culture is different too, and I mean maybe that's because and there's that too. American culture at this point has become a norm for a lot of us. because of TV, because of movies, because of clothes and stuff. Like, we kind of live in the American culture, so it's kind of like the norm. So when you look at different shit, you feel like this is more exciting, this is different, right? This is more exotic. So you kind of, it's kind of like we're trying to connect to those to feel like we have more colors, but that's not fair to our culture, and that's not fair to their culture. So people like Tony, his friends, they claim to be the same, but when they go there, it's kind of like they're insulting almost the motherland by claiming that they're the same, and they are also insulting their own culture because they have changed, and there's nothing bad about that. It might be a little sad for them if they, respect this like they do, and if they look up to it like that. You go there and you realize you have nothing in common with these guys, and they look at you different, and they laugh at you when they realize you're American, but you feel Italian, so you're trying to connect, and it's just not happening. But it is a reality. It's okay. You have your own stuff back at home. You create your own culture.
Personally, all for trying to understand where you're coming from, where your family used to come from, and learn more about that your family culture, even though you're not from that place.
Yeah, but don't claim it for yourself.
Don't claim it that you're from that place because you didn't live in it, basically.
Like, looking at our ancestors, I am in awe at the idea of what they went through, the fact that if it wasn't for these people, we wouldn't exist today. So it's just crazy how many people were involved in our creation, and what the places they traveled to, the decisions they made that led to what we are today. I am fascinated by this, but I'm not claiming to be the same. Just like, that was a culture shock for them in this episode. On the culture level, on the the whole food stuff, the bathroom stuff, the language stuff, but then the job stuff as well, like the mob the mob side of the whole episode here. Tony treats women differently, that is for sure. So for him to answer to a woman, that was a shock.
A bit of a shock, yeah.
He's used to, he's fascinated by women. He looks at them like objects of desire, not like, he doesn't compare them to Uncle Junior when it comes to the level of respect he has for them. Not saying he can't respect a woman, but it was a shock in the beginning. I really love I said it in the episode, but when he said, I'm going to talk to your husband, kind of like he's going to shut you up, and he has more respect, he deserves more respect than you.
He has more power than you do.
He's got more power, and then she's like, he's not coming back, you talk to me. Like, whoa, okay.
My father is in no position to talk business, so you talk to me. My husband is not there. My brothers are dead. That's my cousin. He listens to me. He answers to me. You wanna talk business? Talk with me.
He came in with all his demands and everything, but eventually I believe she won. He did say he made double on the cars. I don't think that's true.
He asked for 90 to begin with, and she lowered to 75.
But he got a few guys.
He did ask for a few men.
He got a few guys. He will create his new circle. In New Jersey, right? He's gonna create people. He's gonna have a group of people that listen to him only. People from the motherland. So actual mobsters that, yes, now that you've mentioned it in the episode, there's a possibility that maybe they'll bring in more trouble if they, act
if
out.
they do things differently in Italy, they might do the same back in the US.
Yeah, they might bring a little bit of that violence here. But we'll have to see. Like, I don't want to judge anyone right away, so we'll see if that changes anything. But for sure, though, they will listen to Tony only, so he's gonna, free himself even more of the old crowd, those that still listen to Junior, or those that look at him differently because of what happened.
You brought up the language barrier a few minutes ago, and I want to say that when you're in a business deal, a business conversation, the language is really important to have the control of what's happening right now.
Well, for sure, when you have such, sensitive subjects, any facial expression, can be interpreted wrong.
As an insult, yeah.
Even worse, if they were actually speaking English, you could be seeing double meanings and stuff they say. And, Tony came here being a boss, expecting the respect, expecting to be treated like his uncle was probably going to be treated, or Jackie used to be treated. Like, basically, he's new to the position, but he expects to be treated like the boss. So any changes in plan, he might see it like a lack of respect, or he he can afford to do that because he thinks it's me, or he thinks he can do that because it's me. Like, he needs to fight against that, because if people know they can just walk all over him and do anything, like, it's not going to be good for his reputation. And he got there, and first of all, he didn't understand how things were done, but he wasn't meeting the people that he were warned about, he was told about. He didn't like Nino, right? Who, I mean, he had a right not to like him, because we know that behind his back he was speaking shit about Tony, so they didn't like each other. There was a vibe
Tony
there.
did come up a bit rude, asking, I wanted the big boss and you send me the little guy. So
but then again,
what's your deal?
Like I said, being a new boss, he needs to expect to be treated correctly. If they keep telling you that there's a guy in charge and he won't show up. Now we know why, but when he started the conversation, he didn't know, and everyone he was meeting, it was people he had not been warned about, and like they were changing plans and showing him who he thought were nobodies. That sounds like they don't give a shit about him. And it's all about respect and power. So he needs to fight for his position, and it was a new crowd. They've been doing their own TV show back in Italy, like they've been going through their own shit. So yeah, of course things change, but he's not aware of that. So there was a clear disconnect, and even though they are family, they don't know each other. So and it's a completely different world, even though they think they are similar. In any case, it was a really good episode, though. I love that we went there. I mean, it's beautiful, first of all. And it's kind of nice to see how things are done in the motherland for them. And to see that culture shock. I really liked it. And Carmela at home, that whole situation was also very sad, but necessary, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd say I really liked it.
I was a bit frustrated with Christopher, to be honest.
Oh, he just, like, wasted his trip. I hope, but then they're bringing back stuff from there. I hope he's not bringing any, like, habit with him. It's not a good thing, man, to be high all the time, especially now that he has more responsibilities. He can't be acting like a stupid kid anymore.
Yeah.
He could have learned, like, and that's the thing with Christopher. He wastes away chances.
Opportunities.
Yeah. Like, you were there meeting the big guys. A lot of people you work with, man, you know, hope to go there at least once. And what's his name?
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just mixing all the names
Paul
again.
is a nickname, just Paul.
Well, Paulie's good too. He was over there and he was saying, like, he wanted to be there for so long. He's in love with Italy. He was the one talking about how, like, they're doing things different now and stuff, and they don't know anything about authenticity. He had a big culture shock. But still, he was saying his brothers got to go. He never got to go. It's a privilege to go there and be a part of the thing. And Christopher fucking wasted it.
Yeah.
He wasn't even at the dinner.
Spent all that time in a room being high on drugs.
Yeah. It's Christopher. I'm not even surprised, but I hoped for better from him. But then, can't expect the guy to change that quickly.
Nope.
In any case, so that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching it with us. If you want to see the next episode right away, it is on Patreon already. You can check it out. The link is in the description below.
And if you don't, the next one should be on YouTube next week. So
yes.
see you then, guys.
Bye.